Good evening. How are you doing? This is so incredible to be connecting with you again because this is the first time that we are doing this live in English. It's been some time and I am so glad to connect with you again because you know what? We are going to be talking about a very, very special topic. So I'll see if Alex is already joining us. Ah, there he is. Beautiful. Yes. Okay. I already, said yes to go live with him. So let me see if Alex. There he is. Hi, my friend, my beautiful friend. How are you?
I'm doing good, Leah. Good evening. Good evening to you and all your listeners. I'm so honored to be here in this podcast with you in such a delightful way and expressing quality of life issues that we all face in our lives, right? I'm excited to be here joining with you. Thank you
Beautiful. Thank
so much.
you, Alex. And you know that it is interesting because before I used to have these lives, Spanish, English, Spanish, English. And for some time I have stayed only with, only Spanish. But now I said, you know what? I love my English speaking audience. So that's why I wanted to, again, to start with, talking to our English audience, speaking. So we are starting with you. And I thought that the topic that you and I thought that it would be very, very helpful and very special is quality of life. Because we all want to have quality of life. And when you suggested to use this topic, what you were thinking about? What were you thinking about, Alex?
I was thinking about Leah, all the all the ideas that come to mind when we talk about quality of living. I was talking about being with the family and friends that I love. I was thinking about being in the places I like to be in, like my own home or in a shelter with people that I know that I'm familiar with. I was thinking about my pets, my dog, my cat, my bird. I was thinking about having caregiving that's being provided to me and my family members that are conducive to the familiar surroundings that I like to be in, or being around faith filled environments, things that bring me closer to the form that I see God in. And when I thought about quality of life, or I think about quality of life, I think about happiness, a special, happy place and moments.
Beautiful. Thank you, Alex. And I want to say a little bit about Alex because you know you may know if you follow me in the Spanish, in Spanish speaking environment, you may know that I presented my book Allow Me to Live My Grief and Heal from the Inside Out in Spanish. Déjame vivir mi duelo y sanar de dentro hacia afuera. I presented it last week in Books and Books, and Alex said such beautiful words in that presentation. Alex and I are very good friends for a long, long time. And as we would like, to say about us is that we are friends from our souls. We are soul friends. And he has dedicated his life to be in that place, to help the person who is facing the last times, last days in this world as we know, and he is there, to offer his support, to offer his love, and that's what we want to talk about that today. We want to talk about what hospice care is about. And what do you want to tell us, Alex, about you?
Well,
I want to just introduce yourself a little bit so people know about
sure.
you.
Sure. Leah, thank you so much. First of all, I again thank you for inviting me to your program and for being a part of this wonderful network through live media and Instagram. Um, about me and you, I want to say that I love you very much. We met years ago, and life brought me to you when I had a loss, and I had a loss of a dear friend, which you remind me in so many ways of her because of the smile on your face, the love you express with people, and the joy you bring to people's hearts. And like you said, from healing from within, your love is from within and it's exerted outward. And I always received that from the first day you and I met at that seminar that I spoke at St. Thomas University, remember, years ago.
Yes.
So what I like to talk about is my purpose and my why. Years ago, I lost a friend to cancer. I was only 9 years old. I did not understand why it happened, how it happened. I was just put into a small room and I was told, your friend, you will never see this friend again. His name was Rudy, and Rudy was a brother to me. And I learned that loss early on hurts a lot. And what part of me, the why that I continued working in this field was to manage my own pain inside, the pain I felt in my heart. And as I grew into a moment of my journey in human experience, I learned that life takes you to where you have to be. And the more faith you have, the more open you are to having that muscle of faith exercise, just like you exercise your body, you exercise through prayer, meditation, our faith, your faith in whatever way it is. It led me to being in a place that explained to me that life happens in a series of events that we have no control over. I choose to call it divine order. And that perfect order takes you to where you have to be. And about me, I learned to be positive when things went bad. I learned to turn them around. I learned to make, out of salt. I learned to make an ocean. I learned to make out of pepper. Eggs in a basket and enjoy my scrambled eggs with pepper because, you have to be positive in every way in our lives on a day-to-day basis. So about me, I learned to be positive in every way, in the simplest of things. And with that, I learned to carry on and do a mission of my work. I went into clinical psychology after being case manager and director, and I learned to just appreciate that through listening, I can help others, and through resources and guiding them and joining forces with organizations like yours and Transforming Your Loss, or vice versa, any other organization or community, we can give love and to other people to help them through the journey of life. So now I work in hospice. I've been in hospice almost 25 years of my life. And to be honest with you, I could not think of any other thing better to do. I came back to a hospice after I'd been missing 8 years. I went to another realm of healthcare, but I'm back at it again for the last 5 years. And I live my passion. I walk my talk, and I live with a purpose-filled life. And I'm here for the community at large, general community, to serve in whatever way I have to. And I let my guide be that faith that fills me and to where I have to be next. So that's a little bit about me.
Thank you. Thank you, Alex. And I want to add that, well, as Alex said, we know each other for the longest time, maybe 20 years, because my first book about grief, which was in Spanish, Transforma tu pérdida, una antología de fortaleza y esperanza. In English, Transform Your Loss, A Guide to Strength and Hope. He wrote a chapter in the book called La Ciudad que Somos, the city we are. And I met Alex in a conference at St. Thomas University, and when we met, we connected from soul to soul. It was such a beautiful connection, and he has dedicated his life to help others through hospice care. And when we talk about hospice care, sometimes people just don't know what it is. As I was saying the other day, remember Alex in the presentation, because when I used to teach a course on death and dying at the university, I would ask my students, what is hospice care? And, many of them, maybe most of them, they didn't know. unless they had a family member that had that special care. Now, Alex, knowing that you have dedicated your life basically to this type of care because you even were with me, with my mom, you accompanied me to this special care through the last times of her life, and it was very special and very from heart to heart. I want you to just share with us what is this philosophy of care, of what hospice is, because many times people say, okay, hospice, but people don't know what hospice is.
They don't know.
Sometimes in Spanish, people think that hospice is hospicio. An hospicio is where you take children, that maybe they do not have means, and you take them there. So it's just, it's a physical place.
An
But
orphanage.
maybe they confuse it with hospice. So do you want to share with us what
Sure.
hospice means?
Yes, I would love to do that. And again, it's an honor for me to have taken care of your mom with our team. I want to share with you and the radio, well, the podcast listeners. I think of radio podcast listeners, a quick 101 on hospice and a little history. Hospice began many years ago in the 16th century. We moved forward, and hospice began with the idea that it was not a place, but it was actually a type of care that was given to people that were weary travelers in the medieval times. And then it became kind of like a building where people would come, they were sick, they were taken care of. And back then we didn't have medicine like we have it today. They actually had an innkeeper that would take care of these people and they would die. So in 1965, Cicely Saunders, Dame Cicely Saunders in England, became a social worker and a medical doctor and specialized in a special kind of care, which was hospice care. And it was, how could I keep people that were terminally ill in the same group or population in a place where they were exposed to other people that were getting better? So she came with the idea to the United States, and Senator John Rockefeller founded the idea of hospice in a movement across North America and developed the idea of hospice care as a benefit under the guidelines of Medicare Parts A and B. So from 1965 to the present day, hospice became a philosophy and a practice of medical care. That went on into what we call today palliative care that is within hospice care. Palliative care is exactly pain management. The experts in the past to control pain were the hospice physicians. They were allowed by law to control pain at certain levels, and that became what hospice care is now today with a specialization. Now, hospice care is not a place. It's a delivery system of health care that is geared towards controlling three types of pain: physical pain, which is pain management; emotional pain via our services that include, which include clerical services from clergy. Any faith can be involved in a hospice. A social worker therapist to control the mental pain, or a psychologist, which is part of the team of the hospice and bereavement counselors that come together under the umbrella. Hospice is composed of all the disciplines in healthcare that you receive in a hospital in the home setting. And that delivery of service is team-based approach. You have the hospice nurse, you have a hospice aide, you have a volunteer, you have the bereavement counselor, you have the social worker, and you have a nutritionist, sometimes a respiratory therapist, sometimes, depending on the care that is needed, a physical therapist. Up to 8 times it can happen that we can promote a physical therapist or assistant to come in to do modalities of treatment. Now, in the past, hospice was for the dying. In the present moment that we live in, hospice is not for the dying, it's for the living that need this special care at home, and the prognosis of the patient is expressed by the doctor, primary doctor, that person has a life expectancy of 6 months to a year or less. Does that mean that the person is going to die immediately? No, not at all. It means that the person is going to be provided with the best care in their own home while living around quality of life, the people they love, the surroundings they remember to be happy in, and also the rite of passage that we as citizens of this country, this great country, we have a rite of passage under the Medicare guidelines that it's paid for at 100%. What does hospice include? It includes the supplies that are used to take care of you. It includes the nutrition. It could be the insure. It could be the food. It is also that oxygen tank that people sometimes don't need, but we put it there just in case for an emergency. It also covers all of the staff and the doctor that is a hospice doctor that reports to the primary doctor of that patient the findings and what it is going on with the vitals and the modalities of treatment that are being provided. All this is under the umbrella of hospice, and there are specialty programs that we have included in Hospice Ligia, and those specialty programs include, in Bristol Hospice, we have a program called Sweet Dreams, which is a program for patients that have a mental illness. It could be Alzheimer's, it could be Parkinson's. And we provide this aid that is trained in providing that aid helps to help that patient to fall asleep with a bear that sends special scents. It has a system that vibrates inside like a heart pulse to help that patient fall asleep. Also a weighted blanket. These are some of the programs that we offer. Also, Bright Moments. Yeah, it's wonderful. Bright Moments celebrates the life of those patients with their families. So it's a wonderful journey within what we call quality of life. These are some of the services that hospice offers.
Beautiful. Thank you so much, Alex, for explaining what it is. Because you know what I have noticed? The thing is that sometimes we just assume, we see hospice. I'll say like, well, no, this is just that, they're assuming that the person is going to die. So I don't want to go there. I do not want to use the service because then that means that I am just allowing my loved one to die, and I do not want that. That is something that I heard a lot in, when I taught that course on death and dying. And I love that what you said, that the emphasis is on living, because we continue living even if we have been diagnosed, if our loved one has been diagnosed with a terminal illness, they continue living. And that's the beauty of hospice, because as you said, hospice is like this umbrella that brings this help, in all dimensions, the physical, the emotional, the spiritual, because you offer pastoral care and all that. And so that helps not only the patient, but also the family. And that's
exactly
that, if people would just open their hearts, and open not only their hearts, but their minds, and be informed, because we want to have education. And that's why I wanted to talk with you. Besides being my friend that I love so much, you are so well versed in this that I wanted for you to educate people, because sometimes we do not make a decision that could be the best decision we could make for our loved ones, because we are lacking information, or we are just, like so close-minded that we are like, no, I cannot go there, because that means that I am allowing my loved one to die. No, it's just that we are adding quality of life. So what do you want to talk about quality of life, Alex?
I want to talk about quality of life when it comes to the disease process, and why it's so important to understand that, like you said, an informed decision is something that needs to be made when we are educated on the subject matter. And there's a lot of information out there that can be very helpful to look into what it is needed. When we talk about quality of life, we talk about what are my dreams? What are my goals still when I'm in this phase of life? How do I want to be treated? Who do I want to come and have talk with me? How do I want that book to be read to me? Or how do I want to look when I'm in this phase of life? because people in this phase of life are just as beautiful as any other time of your life. So we have some patients that want to be, have a made up. Women like to be, vanity is a very important part of a woman's, beauty, and they want to be looking good. So we bring in a hairdresser.
Oh,
When we talk about quality of life, we talk about these things. I've had patients that want to go out to a movie and they're still with their oxygen tank, they go in a wheelchair. And with hospice, you get quality of life. With hospice, we want to avoid hospitalization at the most because we do whatever is in a hospital at home. Also, hospice can be done, yeah, so that the podcast listeners know, in ALFs, nursing homes,
uh,
condominium buildings. It is wherever that person lives. It could be on a houseboat. It could be in a hotel room. I've had patients come from other countries and stay in a hotel room until that person either expires or is on hospice for 3-4 months, and they go, you know what, this is too long. We gotta move into an apartment, and hospice can be provided anywhere that the person is living in. When we
yeah.
talk about, quality of life, it's all these things that come to mind, and you don't have anybody pinching you, cutting your skin, your epidermal layer, because we do everything is non-invasive. Everything is either oral through medications. We provide pain management through oral medications or simply sublingual drops that control pain when a person has physical pain. And if not, we keep the same plan of care. So all these things are quality of life.
Thank you. Thank you, Alex, for that. And you know what? The thing is that I know we're talking about a topic that can be very hard, very sensitive. However, it is so necessary. And we avoid talking about these things. And I remember when I wrote a book, it's called Counseling Hispanics Through Loss, Grief, and Bereavement, that I made, I had some interviews with people. And one of the things that was most salient is what people would say, that we don't want to talk about this. We do not want to go to that space. And sometimes families lose the opportunity to provide this special care to their loved ones because they don't want to talk about it. No, this is something that, that's taboo. Death, forget it. I don't talk about that. The end of life, even less. So what happens is that when we have a loved one that is facing their last days in this place that we call life, in this world that as we know, then we could make a difference in how their quality of life is. I always think, and I know because I know you, my friend, that I love you, and I know that you share this, with me the same way that I think that the best thing we can do, besides providing all these beautiful services that hospice provides, but the best thing that we can do is to give our love to our loved ones, to give our love,
Totally agree.
yeah, to just share beautiful times, because it is not only for the person who is dying,
It's
that
for ourselves.
they leave this world in that place, loving place, but that's what stays with us, that loving place. What do you have to say about that, Alex? That I know you can expand in that topic tremendously.
In a sense of the word of that is, we can talk so much about everything, right? In general sense, but it's specifically about what you're saying is life is like a photograph. When we think about the life that we're living, every moment is a photograph that stays in. And when we can face and think about the memory of that photograph, of that moment we expressed with our loved one, the exchange, whether it was storytelling, whether it was reading a book, like I said before, or whether it was just touch, just the simple holding of someone's hand, and and the smirk of the face, when we look at the person's face and they smile at us, when we go back to that place of pain and we're able to look at the photograph in our memory, we can go back to that special moment in time where we can freeze time and we can bring joy to the memory of loss. And it's those memories that live in us, Leah, as you know, that carry us to where we have to go next. Yes, the pain is always going to be there, but with time, the pain will be less when we are able to reflect on that photograph, that moment of time where we go back and we look at the joy that we felt from that experience. Again, whether it was reading a book, touching the hand of that person, or just looking at the person's face. I'm going to share this with you because it happened to me today. So I feel like, when we talk about our parents, we feel like crying, right? So, I am with my mom and dad. I go there every day. I try to make the time to see them before they go to sleep. My mom has been very frail for the last 5 years, but she's still there. And today, she was telling me a story about her sisters. And she says, Alex, did my sister, she's mentally okay, but she has her moments of forgetfulness. And she says, is my sister going to come today to see me? I said, Mom, your sister came a week ago. And she says that she's going to come back again. Says, I remember when I was a little girl, I used to not like her to be around, but now I love her to be around. I said, Mom, because you were always jealous. You were the most beautiful one. And you always said that people, envied that. And your sister didn't tell you anything. He says, no, Alex, it's just that when we were little kids, I was the beautiful one and she was a smart one. And then I started laughing because, these are moments of time that I'm sharing with her. And I'm remembering the conversation from way back that she mentioned these things. And now at her 88 years of age, she tells it to me like if she was a little girl. And I have to laugh because she repeats it again and again. And then I had to, stop and then proceed with following the story, right? The storyline. And I look back and I say, wow, how beautiful, because the day they're not here, I know that I'm going to remember all these times that I was with them. And I'm going to remember that I have a satisfaction that I miss them even now. But I'm grateful that I had the chance, the opportunity to be there, to be a part of this journey. No matter what happens, I'm always going to miss them. I miss them now because I know their function are like before. But I will forever have that photograph in my mind, in my heart, feeling every moment and knowing that my pain will be less and less, at least not as painful, but just the gratitude that life, God gave me the opportunity to be there with them forever. And that's what hospice does. I can't explain it even simpler than just that. It's a photograph in time that helps us to heal the pain of we miss people. But they're in our hearts. They're alive inside you and me. That's all.
Thank you, love you. Thank you for sharing that.
You're welcome.
I greatly appreciate that you open your heart to us and you share because you know what, Alex, that's what life is about. Sometimes we get trapped in this way of living, that everything is for the outside and the outside, and we sometimes lose track of what really matters. And sometimes we get hung up on anger or resentment, on all those things that are human, that are emotions, and that are natural. We know that. However, the way we can create memories, just as you said, and that's when we are able to get into their worldview, because the worldview of the patient, being that your father, your mother, your sister, any loved one, no?
Oh, friend.
Or
people have
friend, exactly. When we are able to enter their worldview, it's not about okay, you said this and I said that. No, it doesn't matter. is when we can connect from heart to heart. The rest stops mattering because what matters is our connection because that's what stays with us. Just as you said, those photographs, those memories stay with us. And that's the beauty. And that's why it's so important, that sometimes people tell me, ay, Ligia, pero, like, you don't get, like, so depressed talking about these things. I'm like,
No.
I love talking about these things because this is reality. This is reality.
Yeah.
Reality is not a snapshot, the TikTok. No, this is reality. This is life. And the thing is that when our loved ones are not with us, then we're going to think, I wish I could have said this. I wish I would have been this way. Why wait that? Why to wait until then? Let's do it now.
No.
I don't know if you know this poem, Alex. Oh my God, I remember that I knew about this poem the first class I took on Death and Dying with Dr. Steven Sapp at the University of Miami.
Oh my God, Steven Sapp.
My mentor, I love him.
Dr.
Do you
Sapp
know Dr. Sapp, Alex?
Yes, very well. I was in a class.
He's adorable. I love
He's
him.
adorable.
He gave us this poem about not, paraphrasing, not bringing flowers to the cemetery, once they're dead. Not to bring the flowers then. Let's give them the flowers now as they live, when they're alive next to us, instead of just going to the pain and the resentment. And yes, it happens. Life happens. And pain happens. I understand. However, what do we want to keep with us? What do you think about that, Alex?
I think that it's so valid what you're saying, to live in mindfulness and to live in the moment and now. We all went through experiences the last 3 years of our lives. Our lives changed forever. Our world changed. We learned from the pandemic that we live in the present moment, and that sometimes things that we think are controlled are not. They're out of our control. I believe multiculturalism is such an important part of the process and journey of living and dying. As you know, in your book, which I remember I helped a little part to describe part of that book, everybody's experience is unique in their own, and where we come from is also. And one of the things that happens is people look at the glass half full theory different ways. And one of the things that we have to remember is that in our own uniqueness, we have to understand other people's uniqueness. And sometimes when we think about that, this is my way, like the song that Frank Sinatra, I did it my way. No, I did it our way. We did it our way because people look at things differently. And to give validation to what you're talking about is live the moment now. Play that song that you like and that your loved one likes to listen to with hospice now. Make that painting that you wanted to do and you wanted to create a beautiful collage. Do it now. Do a vision board where you and that family member that is going through a process is going through, and you want to put pictures, and maybe that will be the presentation of the memory of that person in a memorial when they're gone. And you did it live. You did it now. Don't wait until they're gone. Do it now. And, one of the things that is these are all the exercises that you should think of now, because you're having participatory therapy. You're having that therapy with that person now. And there's nothing more valid and more loving to remember that I did this with my loved one. There are things that people can do. There are so many crafts that can be done. And I think that a lot of it has to do with being creative. We can find so many ways to be creative in this journey that I agree with you. The moment is now. Don't wait to do the memory blanket when they're gone. Do it now. Put
exactly
pieces of clothes together from that person's clothing that they don't use anymore, and make a blanket, a memory blanket. It's beautiful, and it's just these are things that we will never forget.
Yeah, and it's like Thank you. Thank you for that, Alex, because
Anytime.
it is something, that I hear so often that sometimes people say, well, I have these things inside of me, and they don't give themselves the permission, the permission to move from that place even
On.
then. Because remember that when I was presenting my book on grief, I was stuck, moving from that place of suffering to this place of love. This is after the person dies, based on the book. However, when we are talking about a person that it is with us now, at this moment in time, we can stay in that place of resentment, of anger, of misunderstanding. That it happens because we are human beings. It happens.
It's part of it. You have to recognize those feelings are normal.
Yeah, they are. They're so natural, and the beauty is that we can make a decision because we can always make a decision. We can just
Exactly.
say, well, am I going to stay stuck in this place
Heart.
of anger and bitterness and stay there, stuck? Or am I going to just move forward and just make these last times with my loved one in, just based on a beautiful place of love and peace and creating memories, because we can continue creating memories, like with my mom, as you were with me, Alex, my mom, who, when she died was almost 101. Oh my God,
Incredible.
I continue, I'm very, I love her. She's so alive in my heart. And that we continued creating memories. We continued creating memories until
All
the
the
last
time.
moment. I was talking today with my niece, and she's the first grandchild of my mom, and she loves her. And we were talking about my mom, because she's so alive in our lives, and we were remembering things and stuff, and and until the moment, almost as she died. So we continue creating memories. So that's what we want to do, and that's why hospice gives this opportunity. So when I asked if you wanted to do this live, if you wanted to have this conversation with me today, was with that intention that people know what hospice is about. What is the greatest value? If you have a person, a loved one who's dying, when they embrace the hospice care, what would you say to those beautiful people who are with us today, Alex, before we leave? What message can you tell them about hospice?
The most incredible message I can tell them about hospice is caring. It's love. It's light. It's adding life to where life seemed non-existent. And for the families, it gives them the opportunity to close the dealings that they had not closed, the stories that they had not heard or that they had heard and they can be remembered again. Hospice adds not only the quality of life to the patient, but the family, and the unit is closer. The other thing is Leah, that you said something very important. Sometimes we don't know how to deal with this. Hospice gives you a team of angels that come inadvertently without any interest in gain, but only to gain in giving peace and giving hope to where despair was the most incredible thing when a sickness was happening. And also knowing that after the patient is gone, hospice offers a whole year of support through support groups, through individual therapy, through group therapy, through a memorial mass or memorial service that is offered unconditionally at no cost for the families to come together and gather and worship and move on. But most important, and we talked about this as mental health professionals, grief is individual and has no time frame. So it doesn't matter whether they go on for 1 month, 2 months, a year. What's important is to recognize the feeling, validate it, and like you said, try to see if we can move on from that place where we can park ourselves, and with hospice, that is visible and viable. So the message that I want to give them is hospice is here now, and it's present for the moment of now. You don't need to be waiting until that person is completely dying to be referred. There are diagnoses that are available. Any cancer patient, any Alzheimer's patient, any COPD, THF, these are primary diagnoses that people can have, and they can still get treated for the other treatments. We can accept those diagnoses. It's just a phone call away. And if you want me to give the Bristol number, I can, in the Dade County area.
Of course, please do so.
Sure.
Yes.
I work with Bristol Hospice. I'm in the hospitals and physician areas in central Miami. My area is Coral Gables, Key Biscayne, a little bit of Miami Beach. I'm also in the Little Havana area, and they can reach me or the office at 786-382-0433 for any information, and a live nurse is always available to answer any call when the person is enrolled in the program, 24 hours a day. Okay?
Beautiful.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Alex.
Thank you.
And this topic is very close to my heart because my beloved mom, my centenarian, she was the last months of her life. She was under hospice care, and I can just tell you, this was a blessing. The nurse who took care of my mom, I called him. He was my angel. To the moment after she died, even he was there for me. So I believe so much. I thought about this at the university many years before my mom died. Many years. I thought about it because I believe in this. I wrote about it in my book, Counseling Hispanics, because I believe in this. I lived it. And let me tell you, the support, the love, the care I felt was amazing. So if you do not know about hospice, get informed, read about it, and just be informed because these things are important. We wish we could be eternal. We wish our loved ones would be eternal, but we are not. And when we have information, when we get educated about these things, it's when we can make the best decision when the time comes. Okay, so I just give you a hug with all my love. If you're going through that. And Alex, thank you, my beautiful friend. Thank you so much for sharing this time with us. And well, before we leave, as I always do, and I always like to do, is I ask you to just open your hearts, and just allow your soul to just fill with this beautiful peace, and your heart with so much love. Thank you so much for being here. I send you all my love, my beautiful friend. I send you a hug with all my love. Thank you so much, and you have a beautiful night. Remember that every single Monday, the last Monday of the month, we'll be having these lives in English. So if you liked it, you can share with your friends so we can start having this community that we can share about this beautiful, well, important and beautiful, yes, topics because they're very close to our hearts. Thank you so much. I send you all my love. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.